see if that corrected it. Maybe. You see it on your side yet? I don't think any sunglasses are very good. What do you think?
No, you're good.
Alright, it's back up and going. Back up and rocking. Let us know if that's any better.
Is this a better connection, Mike Wiggins? I know he's watching.
What do you think, he's always watching?
Yes. Always watching.
Always watching. What's going on again, guys? Let us know if that's any better. Maybe we have a better connection now. I actually forgot to turn the Wi-Fi off.
So far, so good. Yes, sir.
I forgot to turn the Wi-Fi off on the computer and
it's our first day.
Use the line that we actually added, so my mistake. Good
Good,
deal. Hopefully we're taken care of now.
Here's Justin. Justin, could you hear we were talking about Colton hitting the only tree? He dodged all the ones in the woods and then hit the one on the hill that wasn't even really a tight squeeze.
Well, I mean, I just got through playing the video. We'll play it again here in a minute during a break. Where he got the front tire. He was pointed in the right direction. Just the back end didn't quite miss the tree for him. So,
how about Tim? How about that starter, Tim? Did they give you a headache the whole day? Or?
Yeah, he had to go hunt him down the starter so he could get back out of there.
I think Tim did the same thing I'd have done. I'd have went and found Roland. Roland's definitely.
All right, we'll give you guys a minute to share this thing again. Fix my mistake. We should have a much better connection now for sure.
Nick Russo, if I only didn't flip. Which time? Hey, you did.
You know
good.
what?
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you what. He was on par for a first place time run.
He was
on
putting it down.
And as soon as I said he is running good, about that time he caught that tree and ended the run.
Your fault.
I mean, it's not my fault.
Yeah, you jinxed him.
Maybe I jinxed him. Who knows?
He was putting down a really good time, running through there real quick, and went over, and we were just, you can just hear the sigh from the crowd. He was definitely a local favorite. Did real good. Yeah, Tim, yeah, I could feel your pain. Yeah, I mean, when it was running, looked good. Looked good when it was running. Like I said, we had Tim, Brandon, and then Kyle Lowry actually stepped his game up to the best racing I've seen him do all year.
Team member Nick Campbell with a 900.
Yeah, it turns out he swapped out some axles, motors, bike, driver. By doing that, he drastically improved his chances of winning. Did real good. Nick Campbell,
Nick can drive.
I mean, all the Campbells can drive. I mean, Big John can drive. John Campbell can drive, and Nick Campbell can drive. It's no shock right here. These guys, I mean, they were, like I said, racing before they were walking. If it's got a motor or whatever, they've dealt with it and played with it. And he took a 900 and beat out a whole flock of turbos. He, I mean, partly because it maneuvered so well, but you still have to maneuver it.
Well, and you still have to get it up that hill at the end, which probably cost him quite a bit of time, but he was able to make it up in the woods course.
Yeah, I mean, he played it safe, and he got third. I believe that he would have climbed. It was risky, but if he'd have taken the straight line that Tim and Brandon both took, he'd have had a time that may have been better than theirs. I'm not going to say it would be, but he had to go around, so that significantly knocked him down.
Yeah,
ruined his chances.
But he took the safe line
and still threw up a third place.
It paid off.
Yes.
So it's playing and safe work for him on this round.
Stacy Wilhoit, she's here. She just ran out on us and left us there all alone. And I'm walking around going, "Where's Stacy? Where's Stacy?" Everybody's going, "Who's Stacy?" I don't know. Had a good time though. Matt Myrick, unsung hero, came in fourth. Had some good runs, and he looked sketchy going up that hill, but it sure was pretty.
A lot of those guys, you know, we just got through putting together the video, and I didn't get to see the UTV stuff in person because I was on the top where I couldn't see it. But yeah, I got to see it when I was working on the videos, and there was a couple of sketchy runs.
They toted the front
wheels.
They were in the air way too much to be safe.
What's up, Scott? Missed you this weekend, Mr. Sticky. Actually, I guess I haven't been paying attention because it looks like you haven't made any of the Centrals. I guess you skipped out on the Centrals.
We understand, Stacy. I know you had to get home. That doesn't mean we didn't miss you. because he came in right behind Matt Myrick. He was in he would have been fifth. He was fifth place.
So Stacy's in fifth. You got all the stats up there in front of you.
Now for the he's in sixth for the total standings of the year. You've got Tim leading the UTV competition, then Brandon, then Colton, then Matt, then Steven. I don't know what happened, guys, and Stacy. So that's Matt Myrick, and Stephen Robinson, Stacy Wilhoit, and of course Tim Cameron, Brandon Davis.
So for the day, we had Stacy Wilhoit sitting in fifth, Matt Myrick sitting in fourth, Kyle Lowry, Nick Campbell team sitting in third with a 900, which was impressive. Brandon Davis sitting in second, and Tim Cameron sitting in first for the day.
Oh yeah, you made the highlight reel. We didn't have enough crashes to leave you out, Colton. You definitely made the highlight reel. Like I said, the hills it was more of a throttle control driver's course. It ended up being a hill one, well, if you're still talking about the UTVs, it was definitely a driver's course because it was to all turns, and backups killed you. After a couple of drivers laid down some runs that were consistent without backups, that kind of eliminated the room for error.
Yep. And
then the second run, it was half woods, half hill, and it was really pretty. It was really pretty.
So for the day, let's talk about the points on where they're sitting. You've already got a copy of it over there. You're looking at this. Already does include the 2 drops because we can actually calculate those, and those are set in stone now. And the finals is all we got left, and they cannot drop the finals.
They can't drop the finals. How many hills do they have? How many?
The UTV class will be running twice. Friday morning at 8 o'clock and Saturday morning at 8 o'clock.
All right, we got 2 8 o'clock runs.
They're going to start the day off both days.
That's going to be awesome. That's going to be everybody out there. And like I said, with that many points and running twice, you got Stacy, Steven, Matt, Colton, Brandon, and Timmy. And
matter of fact, in between, Brandon's sitting in second place for the points, and Colton is actually bumped down to third now, but only by 1 point.
Yeah, by 1 point.
Brandon Davis is sitting at 299, and Colton's sitting at 298, and Matt Myrick right behind him at 280.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a possible 100 points on the line at the finals, so it's still anybody's game.
Points, guys. That was good.
Matter of fact, the top 10 numerically could still come in there and win the championship.
I couldn't have been happier. Got that out of the way and got those done, and everything. Everybody was safe, nobody hurt, and all the bikes, even damage was minimal. Due to the types of courses and the drivers handling themselves good.
There was a couple of spots where they were toting front wheels and it was sketchy.
There was, like I said, you had your.
And I think old Clint Garrison rolled it over on a backflip.
Yeah.
I don't even think he tore me anything because it was pretty soft dirt.
It was
the hill was pretty darn soft.
Yeah. But it stood there all day. I expected a lot more, landslide, dirt slide. I expected that hill to snuff off a little bit.
Yep.
It kind of stood there all day, packed in real good, and even when the bouncers hit it, there was minimal change in those hills. They were just that hard. But the good thing was the traction was good, and that allowed the hills to be steep. But they stood there and took the beating all day. They did a good job. Now the bouncers.
Well, let's take a quick break. We'll let them watch that video one more time.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about the bouncers.
Going on.
Give us just a second.
Thanks to everybody that brought rocks. we were gone, Tiffany mentioned that Anna Marie was selling rocks again. That kind of happened at one of our earlier events of the year.
She's done it a few times this year.
Yeah, she decided to sell rocks that were at the rock bouncing event.
Well, she actually, her and a couple of the kids, they'll go hunt the drivers down and get them to autograph the rocks and post them up for sale.
And that's not for the kids just to make money and buy candy with. They're putting together something big for LeBonner, and so it's going to a good cause. And it just really, I mean, she works hard gathering up rocks, and then we're chasing down drivers, having them sign rocks, going back and getting people to buy rocks at a rock park. That's, I mean, it's like buying ice in Alaska. It's like, yeah, we just reach down and pick some up. It's,
it's really been awesome, and it's really been cool to watch all that happen. She's done it at several events so far, and she wasn't going to do it at this event actually, but she's seen those cool looking crystal rocks. So,
yeah.
So apparently those were worth some prime money. She raised like $120 or something.
$112 total at the end of the day. That was after she paid her rocks out and her expenses. But like I said, great job, and thank you to everybody that bought them. And you'll have one more chance to buy those special rocks, and that's going to be at Dyersburg.
Tiffany, is she going to have plenty of rocks stocked up for the finals?
She might want to bring her some rocks to Dyersburg. I mean, they got some dirt. Maybe limited edition dirt rocks, but yeah, that'll be really good. But meanwhile, out there at Moonlight, she did this during the bouncer class. Bouncers were fun. We ran 2 heels.
Like always.
Like always. First heel, I mean, nobody knew what to expect. I talked to some of the drivers, and they all had it in their head, don't go first because it's going to be real loose, and don't do this and that, and the longer it runs, the easier it'll get, and so on and so forth. And that really wasn't the case. That heel stayed the same pretty much the whole time.
Brandon Davis, he laid down 2 pretty good consistent runs, putting him in 5th place, so that put him in the money.
Yeah.
And Bubba Bacon, he
did not go fishing.
He did not go fishing. You're right.
It took
I think Cheryl was trying to get him to go fishing.
She offered to buy him bait.
But Brandon earned 82 points, and then Bubba Bacon, he's always right there and been consistent all year. And it's paid off for him, earning 85 points.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Going into this, when we were talking about it, I said big blocks and boggers are what you need. And I was, like I said, and he did really good because he's a good driver with a good machine. But at the end of the day, the heel was hard enough that I thought the boggers would be more of an asset than they really were, and he still threw up a really good time.
I'm going to tell you what I noticed was probably the most important, especially on Hill 1, was suspension tuning.
Yes.
The guys that were able to keep a straight line at the bottom in the fast-paced part.
And dodge the water on Hill 2.
Yeah. Oh. And Jake Berkey was kind of a really cool one because he laid down the fastest time on Hill 1, but caught a tree just past the finish line, breaking his left rear. Actually broke the knuckle, which is cast, but in his mind, he done figured out he was done. There was no way he's gonna get it fixed. And Matt Myrick wasn't gonna let that happen. He stayed on him, and of course, as the day, and he was one of the earlier runs.
Yeah.
So as the day went on, nobody was beating his time. He come down there and asked, he goes, anybody beat my time? I'm still sitting in first. And I said, so far you're still in first. And he's actually waiting on the welder from another guy that caught the same tree with a long wheelbase. Adam Ringer.
With a rear steer. Both rear steer units.
Both rear steer and both really long wheelbases. And I kind of started paying attention in what it was doing. It had a crest right after the finish line. And they were hitting the brakes and making the turn, and it was floating the back end up off the ground. And that's how they were catching it. John Campbell almost caught it as well, but he was a lot shorter, so it didn't. Yeah. But anyway, he went up there. Keith, the tool man that comes with the Bacons, has been a lifesaver for many, many drivers this year. And again, he done it for Jake Burton.
I said it Saturday. I said, when we sat around and said, what could we do to make this event better? And I went, more bacon. And I'm telling you now, with little Tim and Bubba, I mean, and like I said, Keith, they're huge assets and have been all year. Can't say how much we appreciate them. And I've seen Timmy come back from a bacon repair, from Keith repairing stuff, and I've seen now these guys. You had a little bouncer graveyard up there at the top of the hill, and because I noticed, I was sitting at the bottom at the starting line and the return gate, And I'm like, they're not coming back, guys. I guess they're gonna stay up there and watch it. And
we had a few casualties up there, and it was a lot of just weird stuff.
Yeah.
Kyle Crouch with Bad Donkey, we thought it blew a head gasket, and so did he. And it looked like the motor just exploded, and it was blowing it out of the exhaust and everything. Turned out it was just a hose, so he was up there trying to get his fixed. Ryan and Agnes had blown or broke the triple and the shock on the front right, getting into some trees on hill 1, so he was up there repairing his in a line that it split. And there were several guys. Bobby was having, Bobby
bent a rim
and
having battery problems all day. We were having to charge him.
Well, we didn't even figure out yet what that was. Today it runs great and runs all day.
Stage fright.
And I guess
Stage fright.
I think that buggy just likes to give Bobby a hard time, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, electrical problems are a serious thing, especially with all these buggies and everything wired in. And I've seen it happen. Matt Schuessler had an electrical problem as well, some sort, because he couldn't get his, and he had no power whatsoever. Ended up pulling the heel. Looked like a slow rock crawl. It looked great. I can't believe he pulled it like he did.
It was, yeah.
He was hooking.
I guess he was. I was messing with him after the race. I told him, I said, the turtle in the hair, the turtle doesn't work on this one.
Tim Sorensen, starter.
Yeah.
It just never ends. Everybody, has their little, trials and tribulations.
But in the end, Jake Berkey got his back together and laid down enough to earn 88 points, which was third place, making it on the podium.
Oh,
so,
yeah, no doubt.
I'm sure he's glad he went through the trouble to fix it.
Yeah.
And Tim Cameron, he's always stepping up there, and he actually earned second place on both heels, which was enough to hold him in second place overall for the day.
Yep. And then one of my favorite buggies, because I like the independent suspension. I cried a little when Timmy stopped running his. And I've asked him about it multiple times. His only excuse was it works too good, and he's right. It worked too good because he took home first, and not by a little bit.
Clayton Hollingsworth was able to lay down, I think it was a third place run on the first hill, but on the second hill, he left a huge gap on the fastest time with a 13.5.
Yeah, he laid it down really fast. It was impressive.
Which earned him one more point. Timmy was at 92 and Clayton was at 93. So.
And with that being said, going into the finals, Clayton's in 6th for points overall for the year. But when you're talking about that big of a non-droppable race, that's a good chance. I mean, he'd have to, don't get me wrong.
There's still 200 points available at the finals. 200
points available, and you're 110 points behind the first place guy. So if you're not, like, I know he has no problem showing out, but if he comes and brings it.
Clayton's sitting at 483 and Timmy's in the lead with 610.
Yeah, 610.
Jake Berkey's sitting right above that with 500.
Yeah, with 500. Then Brandon at 530.
Yep.
And then Kyle is at 553 as a contender because Kyle Crouch is a driver. If his buggy stays together, that's going to be somebody to really look out for.
And it's not even one heel difference between each place.
No, it's not even a whole heel. So, I mean, and as we know, anything can happen. You can be on the last leg of the course, already broke the timer, hit a tree. I've seen Brandon Davis do that. And, I mean, like I said.
So keeping it together for 4 heels is going to be important for him, for sure.
No doubt. So
Bubba Bacon's consistency has paid off. He's sitting in second place.
So consistency will be key going into the finals, and there's a second place. So Tim's definitely going to have to make sure if he's going to hold on to this lead that he can't slack off now. He's got to do one more time.
Yep. And then Tim's sitting in the top spot with 16, like
610 points. Like I said, that's not a huge lead. That's by any means a huge lead.
36 points.
36 points can be made up in any of the 4 heels. So you got 4 chances. So you can do it. And like I said, that's it's exciting. And that's where I want to go into it. I don't want to go into it with a guaranteed winner.
We'll definitely talk more about the points and further down the list on the pre-race show. We'll probably see you guys early in this week with a pre-race show. We're going to have some special guests coming to see us.
Yeah.
So,
and 2 of those guys on that list are also on the UTVs for the points for the year because they're standing with Tim first, Brandon second, Colton Hobeck third, Matt Myrick at 4th, Stephen Robinson at 5th, and then Stacy Wilhoit. If y'all ever seen her race, she's good. So, like I said, that's pretty good. Does anybody? I mean, like I said, talking about the park, I hate dust. We've all been through this, but it was dusty.
They got a water truck out there, and you know
and they gave us about a 10-minute break of dust, and it was great. Well,
the pit never did really get dusty. It stayed pretty clear down there, didn't it?
No,
It
not at all.
too?
Every time somebody took off and drove through it, or came back and drove through it, or turned around to line up and
it was
drove
very
through
dry.
it. Yeah,
It hadn't gotten any rain in a while.
Yeah, still can't breathe out of my nose. But it's okay. I mean, like I said, we can't control the weather. Had a good time. I don't know. I think, like I said, next thing we're headed to is the Bounty Series.
Bounty Series finals this weekend at Dirty Turtle.
So, and we'll be seeing several of these guys at the Bounty Series. Not Clayton, but we'll see his son Gilbert, Stacy, Matt Myrick, Colton. Colton's brother Justin runs in it. Of course, I think that's definitely those guys will be in it. Sam Carter.
Forrest will be running.
Yeah, Forrest will be running. Forrest.
Well, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. And like I said, I will post up a pre-race show post and let you guys know when we'll be around. But we'll be back early this week for the pre-race show for the finals. Got a lot of cool stuff coming. We'll talk about the schedule and what's coming at Bikini Bottoms.
We've actually added somebody to help us out down there. Colton Hoback's jumped up and said that he will be glad to run and get parts for anybody that needs them during the race that they break. He works
at the finals?
For finals or anywhere we go. He's going to be the parts runner guy. That's what he enjoys doing, and he loved helping out. So we're glad to have him. And if you need anything from back at the truck area or staging area, find Colton. He's your man.
All right, we'll see you guys here in a couple days.
All right, thank you.